holistic healing?
Okay, sure. A little bit more about the holistic method. Well, the kind of meditation I'm talking about is a kind of meditation where you simply meditate on a concept or a feeling. Let's suppose you were meditating on peace. You don't meditate intellectually. You meditate on feeling peace, and you meditate on an awareness of peace. Right? For instance, if we look around this room and we were doing a meditation, hey, this is a very peaceful room right now. Okay? But filling yourself with that just expands outward and reaches others. So we don't end at our skin. People talk about sometimes having an energy field. We don't just, we do have an energy field, which is infinite. Right? There's no place where it ends. Depending on what we're focused on, we can have more of our focus here or there, but let me put it this way, give you something to think about. We take the point of view in this knowledge that the universe is infinite. Now, if you take that point of view, you have to take the consequences. Because you cannot have a piece of infinity. It stands to reason logically that if the universe is infinite, everything in the universe has to be infinite. Now you can have individual focus, or if you're the universe as a whole, you can have multiple focus. Maybe that's what we are. But every part of that universe has to be infinite. Well, now if we take that again further logically, when you think a thought, it goes everywhere. It doesn't mean all these other points of focus listen to it. But there will be some who do. In an infinite universe, got to be some who do. Okay? So you're going to have an effect. How much of an effect? There's no way to calculate that. But if the universe is infinite and you're part of that infinity, there's got to be an effect. And so take whatever there is. The more similar thoughts that go out, and it doesn't have to be at the same time, the more similar thoughts that go out, the greater the effect. We're seeing an effect of that right now. If we want to use the news reports, Syria was brought up as part of the news. Right now, our government has decided to wait and consult the will of the people through Congress, which just a few days ago was not intended. But with the reaction of the people, it seemed the best thing to go along with that rather than be the sole thing against everybody, including your own people. That doesn't work. So it wasn't a back down, it was smart. Recognize what the situation is, go with the situation. Go with the reactions of the people. And so what people were thinking had an effect, and it wasn't just all the ones who wrote, it was all the people who were thinking it. So we see a beautiful example of this that happened. Small, tiny one, but there's an influence there. And look what happened, we know, with the British Parliament. Totally unexpected. The people didn't want this. So they have a system whereby they could vote it down. And that was very impressive. So we do have an effect, we do have an influence. Now, I went way away from the idea of meditation, but meditation is this idea of meditating on a concept without having to think about it. So that's why it's awareness and feeling. And there have been experiments in the past where this has had a measurable effect on certain situations. And why they keep referring to these particular situations and why there aren't a lot more of them, I don't know. But When enough people are meditating in some way, that has an effect on the environment and the people in the environment. So that's the meditation holistically. I mentioned a word called grokking. Grokking is a term we use for consciously doing your best to resonate with the spirit of something so that you're vibrating at a very similar rate, so to speak. We do this a lot with weather. So there's different ways to work with weather, but we did this recently with hurricanes. A number of us did it this way. We can say we tuned into Hurricane Flossie came and went and never touched land, contrary to all expectations. Well, when she was getting close, I posted on Facebook, I said, all you weather workers out there, let's do something about this. We want her to get weaker. I didn't use the word weaker. We want her to get slower, and we don't want her to touch land. So we began working days before she got close. And that's exactly what happened. She came within a certain distance and then turned north and turned north and turned away and gently fell apart. Okay? Now what we were doing was, I'll tell you how this works briefly. We were getting in tune with the spirit of the hurricane. The process for that is something like imagining that you're the hurricane. Okay? Not just as a mental, but also at a feeling level. In our ideas about this puts you at a communication level, and you become aware of what the hurricane is willing to do and not willing to do. And so what you do is simply put it's kind of like a mental weight to add a little emphasis to one of the things that the hurricane is willing to do, which is the least destructive. And it's just really focusing on that one while you're connected deeply. And so this helps change the hurricane, well, not change its mind, it helps it pick that one over others. Because the hurricane was definitely not going to go south. That was out of the question. But north without touching land, okay, that sounds like fun. And that's exactly what happened. So that's the grokking part of holistically. The other part is an ancient idea that comes from Taoism, really, the first time it's been written down. It's more ancient than that. But it has to do with the idea with that if you want the peace in the world, become peaceful. You begin the process of being the change that you'd like to see come about. And that's resonance through self-change. Okay, that help?